Thank you very much. Welcome. I would like to talk about cultural tourism. First of all, you get the impression that this doesn't have anything to do with technology, but it has, and I would like to go into detail. It is a very interesting subject. I would like to show you what we can do in the sector of cultural tourism for startups. We are just at the very beginning, and you are part of our community to try this out. I'm Karin Drda-Kühn. I'm representing an association here in Germany, a non-profit organization only focusing on Europe, and together with our European colleagues from cultural tourism, we would like to harness the potential of this form of tourism. And I would like to show you now what we do and who we are exactly, and why we do engage in this sort of digital startups in cultural tourism, especially in the rural areas. I will only talk about the rural areas. For urban areas, there are many publications already. What we are interested in is the rural areas and the potentials there, because there we still have some details to discover. I would like to explain to you why digital startups in cultural tourism can be a driver in the development of a region. So it is not only about technological aspects, but also about regional development, local development, creating jobs, and how we can all get all this together, bring all this together via cultural tourism. How can we support these companies? So I would like to give you some hands-on advice as well, maybe for your own field of experience and everyday work. Who are we? We've been active in cultural tourism for 10 years now. 7 years ago, we decided to concentrate on rural areas, and at present, we want to foster entrepreneurship in rural areas, because we believe that without entrepreneurs, it will be difficult for cultural tourism to get established in these areas. If we can show that this is a momentum to stabilize rural regions, this is certainly something that will be taken up also by regional developers. So we are interested in the economic sides, but also social sides of tourism, of cultural tourism, and we give advice to startups in rural areas when they create their enterprise. We give advice concerning the content, but also in funding, because the funding for cultural activities in rural areas, we still lack, or people still lack a lot of information, and we try to fill this gap. Entrepreneurial development in rural areas. There are 2 studies. There's a German study concerning cultural tourism, and then there's a European one, which we carried out together with our European partners in Europe, which is called the EUROPETOUR study. EUROPETOUR is a European project of 10 European partners in 8 European regions. They gathered around a Erasmus project, which is one of the fostering projects of the European Union, and we try to find out where there is a need, and where it's also a need for qualification for entrepreneurs in regional areas. 2 important results of this study I would like to share with you now. First of all, there is a lack of qualification and professionalization in this entire sector in rural areas. And second large important subject is digitization, use of digital media. It offers an enormous potential of opportunities that are not yet used, because many users from the cultural sector, but also from the tourism sector, do not know about these possibilities and these potentials to be harnessed. A sub-sector in cultural tourism seems to benefit particularly from this trend, and it's creative tourism. Creative tourism apparently is something that seems to be particularly compatible with digitization. And if you could concentrate in your region on this aspect, please do it. I would like to show you later what you can do exactly by ways of examples. Why could the rural area be particularly of particular interest for cultural tourism? You may know that the mobility concept in rural areas is not only an important but also a very urgent subject, because we reduce public transport and then you would need new mobility concepts for the rural regions. There are several good concepts and you can use these for cultural tourism, but there are still some obstacles, but I think we can overcome these obstacles. Then in rural areas, we have also to take into account tourist offers in the context of civic commitment. People do commit themselves to engage in their region. They're interested concerning their region, their everyday environment, and to keep it stable for their life and their work. So you can imagine that this is a good opportunity for those who want to be active as entrepreneurs. Then, third point, there is enough space and the rents are not very high. You can still rent flats or offices, and you do not have this problem of high rents as we know it from the urban regions and from big cities. Access to funds, another subject that we have to keep in mind. If companies want to grow, they need capital, they need funds. And from the European side, there are many possibilities to get funds, to get subsidies. You only have to know about these possibilities for funding. So if these companies need capital, think of European subsidy programs, of European foster programs for regional regions, for rural regions. The funds are already available, you just have to think of them. The possibility to create co-working spaces, to create creative spaces, all these possibilities are already there. And there's another point that is important from the social point of view. The fluctuation of staff is less compared to urban areas because people are very close to their region, to their village. They do not want to leave. They do not have the urge to change their profession, their work every 2 or 3 years. We saw that as well with our company. Our association is also in a rural area. We do not have any problems with staff fluctuation. People stay with us. So why are digital startups so attractive also for cultural tourism? Well, they bring digital know-how, media know-how, and innovation to rural regions, and these are preconditions for an attractive environment to live and to work there and to grow. In general, these are also sort of a catalytic medium, an incubator for the region as a whole. So it is not only concentrating on cultural tourism or digitization. In general, these startups attract other sectors, other services. And this is something that you should use as a strength of the rural area. We do have innovation, and if we have innovation, this innovation will attract even more innovation. So tourist people, travel people, you should try to attract them because they can bring you even more people to your region. Then there is another subject that is very much discussed at present. It's social entrepreneurship. It's not only about making benefit, making money, and especially those who carry the innovation and digitization. Young people care about social entrepreneurship. And social entrepreneurship is good for the entire region, not only for a certain city or village. So it is a contribution to the entire region, to the well-being of people there. This is something that you should keep in mind for the development of your region. But how tourism could it foster these companies? You should integrate cultural tourism in the general development of the region. No island solutions, no isolated actions. You know all about these. That is very much questionable. So you need a holistic approach, and you have to see cultural tourism as one element of regional development. An important element. It's not just an add-on or nice to have. It is a strategic element that you cannot afford not to have in your development strategy for the region. And there is a set of tools for the development of regional areas. For example, fostering the development of certain business models, start-up centers. And if you have these instruments, you should inform people that they exist and how they can have access to these different instruments. It could be vouchers, it could be round tables, networks, a certain openness for subsidies, access to funds. Only funds, capital allows companies to grow, and then creating an ecosystem so that people and companies feel at home, feel at ease in a certain region. These are the instruments you would know where tourism and culture can contribute to a general opening of a region. I would now like to show you three examples, three good examples initiated and supported by EUROPETOUR, where I can give you a recommendation how you can tackle certain difficulties. EUROPETOUR is a qualification project. We qualify regional European actors so that they can position themselves in a successful way in the sector of cultural tourism. And we know from our study that this professionalization can only be achieved via qualification. So we're not yet there. And in Germany, there's one region who started this initiative and has entirely oriented its branding towards the direction of cultural tourism, and has found one possibility to prepare itself to create an ecosystem, a certain climate for cultural startups. It's the region Heilbronner Land in Baden-Württemberg. Heilbronner Land is one of the partners of EUROPETOUR. They have developed their own qualification scheme and an education, a further continuing education model with 8 modules in the context of a business plan. And they are accessible for everybody. We have already developed 4 modules with the help of the European Union. You can download these on the EUROPETOUR homepage. The first 4 exist already, and then until we get to the business plan, there will be more of these modules until August of this year, free of charge. So what do people at Heilbronner Land do? They have developed what they call a forum cultural tourism. And every 6, every 8 weeks, they put into practice these modules, the qualification modules that we develop with checklists, with sheets, worksheets. It's relatively basic. But then you can also develop them and adapt them to your own needs. And Heilbronner Land at present has begun to qualify their participants. You can see that at the Heilbronner Land homepage and benefit from their experience until August of this year. And my colleagues are there to talk about their experience. It is a rather laborious way of doing things. You need to be patient, but in the end it works rather well. Second project, a digital platform as a business model. It is a young startup from Macedonia. A Macedonian company by the name of Web Gliders, with special offers for cultural companies, cultural events. You can look at a video on YouTube to know about the background of this Macedonian company, Web Glider, and via an electronic marketplace you can book certain offers in cultural tourism. Well, that is nothing new, but the way how they put things together, our Macedonian colleagues, that's very, very interesting. And how you can discover a region via these offers, not packages. It's individual offers with local actors. And these local actors in general do these things in an excellent way. And they bring together people living there and the guests. And this is exactly what guests want. They want to be close to what is happening in the regions. And thanks to this platform, this is possible. I show you an example. It's nicely presented. You always have this link relationship with culture, photo walk, museums. You could also maybe book a cooking class, and this always in the context and with local actors. My third example is my favorite example from Iceland. Maybe you know Creative Iceland. It is something that has been existing during the last six or 7 years already, a creative platform. And the people from Iceland first of all were supported by the Icelandic Tourist Board. Now it is an independent company and it really runs very, very well. They are independent. They do not need any subsidies any longer. So it is really a success story, a very motivating example. Creative people, people from the cultural sector can present certain offers. What is interesting is that those who do the platform support them to professionally present these offers. It is an entrepreneurial help, advice, and it is very broad. What you can define as culture in anyhow is depends on yourself, but with the Icelandic people it is very broad, the understanding of culture. And if you look at the offer, you will already learn a lot about the people and the country. So it is not only a platform, it is also a tool to do things correctly and to professionalize these offers. I will now talk about the 3 different steps of this putting into practice this platform. I wanted to show you what TripAdvisor says about this platform. We add another chart concerning the rating at TripAdvisor. It is always the best rating for them, so it is a real success story. Thank you very much for your attention and your patience. And if you want to ask any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Ja, vielen Dank. Hat jemand jetzt direkt schon eine Frage?
Do you have any questions? Do you only support regions or maybe also cooperatives, artists cooperative or networks? Both. During the last 5 years, we were active in 2 German and 3 European regions to harness their potential of cultural tourism. It is to create an economic network for the rural area, but cultural tourism is just one of our subjects. Well, apparently no answers necessary.